Okay, hey guys, so in celebration of our 17th anniversary, I have a few questions to hand. In continuation, the first question is, what's the Gtext early days like? Well, the early days of the company, first of all, we're not called Gtext. We had like two concepts. One was a foundation called Infinity Foundation that time, which now grew to become Stephen Akintayo Foundation. Was we were in different campuses. We were just young people working to help orphans, less privileged in the society. Then the business arm was Gilead Balm, but we only had one registration for a long time. And so we started. I remember. I had this room in Agowe. It was 10 by 12. My first staff, which we now call team members, was a gentle guy called Busayo, still in Lagos. He was to do an IT, 3 months IT, and didn't want to leave Agowe and decided to do it in my room. So he resumes in the morning, and I was quite strict. Of course, prior to that, I've been doing business for over 5 years before this, but we didn't register it as a company. We just, we does hawk electronics, so popcorn. I used to organize student trade fairs across campuses. And many of those businesses, rise and fall, fail, you put together an event and the whole thing just crumble. You make losses, and thank God for my late mom. That's one of the reasons why, my late mom is really dead to me, because she played a very, very significant role. My late mother always come back to help when we've lost money, in business, and I need to start all over again. The SMS one became more sustainable because the entry barrier was low. We started with just 1,000 naira. And, I was just, the major job I had was sales, and then being able to help customers send the bulk customers, because at the beginning I didn't have a website, I didn't have a laptop, so I go to we used to call it cyber cafe, where computers are, you pay for an hour. And so I will log into the partner I was using. I log into his website, and then I type out the numbers of the clients, the numbers of the recipients of the SMS on behalf of my customer. I type in the SMS they want me to send. In those days, there was no anti-spam law, so you can send SMS to just anybody, and there was no do not disturb as well. And so I was able to leverage on that, and that was an easy business to scale. Even many years later, all I needed to do was to keep looking for customers. But at some point, how do I scale it? I then had to pay for my website, so that way I don't need to be using my partner's website, and that way my customers themselves can create their account on my website and send their SMSs directly. And that turned out to be a good move. It was 15,000 naira for my first website. And after some months, I realized that, I could build website for other people, because other people are like, I want to go into this business, can I come under you? So I knew I could do website for other people, and they would, my SMS will feed theirs, but my name will not show. So they will not know they're going to go to me, and so they can grow their own business as well. And I think my profit margin was 10 kobo, 10 kobo Nigerian naira is like lower than a cent, US dollar. And, so yeah, that was how we were doing it, and we kept pushing the business. And so my first customers, I was charging them 25,000 for their website. Sometimes I do promo, I give them for 20,000, so I pay 15,000 to the same guy to help them do it. and then I keep 5 or 10, depending on the customer. And of course, years later, I had an office in Ikeja. I think we now finally had an office in Lagos, 2012. At that point, I had to employ my first web designer, and he then started doing the website. So my job was just get as many people. And that came with its own challenges. SMS was a tough business because we're partnering with European and Indian gateways. We call them gateways. And anytime the network is down, the customer believes you're the problem. So the customer is calling in, and we're still small then. I was still customer service. I was everything. So you see, if I remember, one of those clients met me some years, I think 4 years ago. I went on his knees and started apologizing. Oh, what happened, sir? I used to know you way back in the day. I called you one day and I saw heap insults and curses on your generation. Just because your bucket site was down, and I cursed you. So now I'm looking back, I realized it was a phase in the business. This is what happened. I said, I can't even remember. And I honestly cannot remember. I honestly can't. But that business quickly showed me that, because I was doing B2C, business to customer, it was tough. And so quickly I needed to move to business, right? Dealing with multinationals, dealing with bigger accounts. And that really was when we had peace of mind, when we started having big, because those ones are not going to, the emotional and psychological trauma that end users give you, they were not giving that. So it was tough growing up and doing business. It was really, really tough. Really, really tough. And because we're small, it was easy for people to use police to harass us. Use all manner to harass us. And so I remember, but by 2015 we're at scale. We're literally one of the biggest, if not the biggest name in that bulk SMS and digital marketing. We had combined email marketing, we had combined social media marketing, and so we're a digital marketing firm. And gotten a diploma in the UK about how that works. We used to build blogs. A lot of big blogs today, in Nigeria, that we build their website. And so it has evolved. But I then traveled to Silicon Valley 2015, and I realized that real estate was the future. And it was the basis for every economic activity, right? I'm here at Harvard. This is real estate, it's beautiful real estate. Let me show you. Right, where I am now, you can see this is real estate. Yeah, it's hostel, classrooms, campus, but it's beautiful real estate. Even here at the Charles Center, this is our business school. Beautiful real estate. So I quickly understood that real estate was the basics, was the bedrock, and that was critical. That was very important for me very early. I'm grateful I did that, because that was helpful, very, very helpful. Of course, starting real estate was a lot tougher than I thought. Digital marketing was even way easier. Because we're in the last 17 years, we've practically bootstrapped our business. We've never gone to take loan from the bank, not even a car loan till today. And that's the toughest way to run a business, toughest way. Because you have to sell to spend. You have to, it's a tough way. But it's also a good way, right? It gets you really, really strong. It builds resilience. Our company, for example, is so structured that we survive in crisis. We do better in crisis. Right, I kid you not, COVID was massive, huge hit. This year you're going to see we do well in crisis. I don't know why. But I think maybe because we have bootstrapped our business, and so we've just gotten used to that. And so it was tough. And again, the same cycle started. Well, okay, we had to quickly change from just trying to sell to the low end of the consumer market to, okay, can we come to the middle? Of course, I'm learning over time that was also a good idea. The world is changed to an hourglass. You're either at that consumer end or you're at the high end. And you won't even know when you're in the middle, and inflation and all of that quickly push you to the to the consumer end, right? So it's a tough business. You're dealing with hormonal issues, you're dealing with regulators, you're dealing with government, you're dealing with land grabbers, you're dealing with encroachers, you're dealing with even government, agencies who can come to a place and see that nobody has developed this place. Go back to the Ministry of Land, put acquisition, share the land amongst themselves. And this is a land family I've sold to somebody already. There's just too much complications. People killing themselves over a property. I mean, one of the properties we bought practically, it's where about 5 families who sold it to us to pull out, started fighting themselves, killed a ballet on the land. Yeah, on the land. It's a tough one. Do I regret it? No. And I'll tell you why. Because there is no path to greatness that is easy. Not any. And there's no type of greatness that is easy. There's none. No. And it doesn't matter what sector. The day you make up your mind you want to be great is the day you should be prepared for war. And for me, I've just had to understand that it's going to be tough, but with clear conscience, we're doing the right things, doing our best to make sure integrity is at the forefront of what we do. We're always going to win. Always gonna win. And so for us, I'm excited about the future, because looking at how our expansion internationally came about was during one of those crises, COVID-19. We had the choice of building more houses in Nigeria during COVID, or we expand internationally. And I was looking at it, the currency is not stable, inflation. We rush and start borrowing money and start building houses. What happens? Even if we do off plan, people give us their money. What if we now need double of their money to develop the place? Remember, by the time you are doing off plan, you're just still putting infrastructure before you then start building houses. And so we said, we're going to buy more land, expand to more states in Nigeria, and then expand internationally, where we now will sell more houses internationally. And that's what we did. So we moved from just being Lagos to now in, I think, 10 states in Nigeria, moved to Dubai, moved to the UK. So in Dubai and UK, we sell houses as brokerage firm, and then as investment firm. We buy houses as well, rent it out and make profit. Our clients also buy houses through us, give it to us to manage, and we give them profit. Of course, that became another problem, because again, a lot of people don't know that the law is different, right? So in Nigeria, if you pay anybody money for land, right, even if you default, you can go on social media and say, see evidence, I transfer money to them. See the receipt, they are scammers, they are thieves. And then people will start commenting, these real estate people, they're all thieves. Now, you can't do that in Dubai or US or UK. You default on your mortgage, you lose, right? You agreed you're going to pay for a house in Dubai. And we had 5 customers who had the same challenge. And many of them dragged me over and over again. There's nothing I could do. And what saved us, and that's why integrity must be at the forefront of the business you do. I said to my team, I said, any property that we are not the one that owns it, we are not the one that is building it, we must not collect customers' money. Let them pay directly to the developer. That's what saved us. Because today, any sensible person who asks those people, can we see evidence that you paid to Gtext? They can't provide. Right?
For me, integrity is very, very important. And I think it has saved us a lot in the course of doing business. When we're expanding to Dubai, I remember saying to the team, once it's not our own development, we're not the one building it. No matter what, make sure the customer is paying directly to the developer. We at some point had people say, oh, but I don't have dirhams, which is what we spent in Dubai. Can I pay to you people, then you have me change? And I told our people we will never do that. Let them look for a third party who can help them change their money. Let them pay directly to the developer. And it really saved us, right? Because at the end of the day, God has helped us to help over 100 people to own properties in Dubai, get rental income, and so on and so forth. But this set of 5 people who defaulted almost messed up the whole brand because, hey, these people, hey, that story. But the good news is that for us is that when you then ask, show evidence that you paid to this to Gtext in Dubai, then they can't show. So it's a question of, yeah, but I invested because of Gtext. You did. And because of Stephen Akintayo's brand, yes, we're not denying that. But these are countries with laws, and laws work. You can't play emotions. If you sign something, that thing is law. And it works. It's not like in Nigeria where you play emotions, you go on social media, you drag people, and then everybody's advertising, and nobody's asking, what is the law? What did you people agree? Right? Can you go and test it in the court of law, whether you were cheated or you were not cheated? For us, it was one of those challenges we faced in Dubai. Thank God that again integrity prevailed. And so now, for many of our new customers in Dubai, our team are always shouting, you will lose your money if you default. This is not Nigeria, right? In Nigeria, you default your rent, then you beg your landlord. You are buying land or a house in Nigeria, you default, and waiting. You give me my money back. If you sign a contract and say you aren't going to get a dime back, you're not going to get it back. And it's not just Dubai, UK, US is the same. The law is the law. What you sign is what you sign. And it's very powerful. But that also made us to say, you know what, if we could face this kind of headache, we better want to start building our own properties, that we build, we have control. And so our expansion in the US involved 3 types of business model: fix and flip, buy a house, fix it, and you flip it. Flipping land as well. You buy a 50-acre, flip it to one person, buy land, seek permit, and build on it. I'm happy to announce to you that a permit on one of our properties just came out in the US. And in the next few weeks, we're going to start development of one of our projects in the US. I can tell you that's a good news. It's a cocktail of different types of investment we have to do, but we're happy that now you can buy land from us in the US. You can buy house from us in the US, because every country has its own ups and downs, benefits and disadvantages. And so for us, in looking back at these 17 years, God has been good. God has helped us to reposition that in the next few years, Nigerian customers will actually be minority in terms of our clientele, because because of the expansion that we're doing. And so we'll be having way more diverse customer base outside of Nigeria. And we're also, as a company, expanding beyond just real estate, everything, tourism, schools, hospitals, media, entertainment, and so on and so forth. But that is more from Gtext Holdings perspective. And at this point, I want to thank the group managing director, Mr. Rana Ijaz. He's not a Nigerian, he's a Pakistani, has way more years of experience, Deloitte and several big multinationals. But the way he agreed to get a pay cut to join Gtext and to blend into our culture, because a company aside from Nigeria with the normal Nigerian ethic, and then you're trying to transform into multinational, having non-Nigerian employees and having the customer base that are non-Nigerian. It's been a tough one, but I want to thank him for taking the job, for taking a pay cut. Most I keep telling Doc Stephen, you're one of the most hardworking founders I've ever met, and I believe in this company. And I want to thank him and several other people who are not Nigerians who work with us, because who are not Africans who work with us. I don't want to say too much before I trend again, but you know my people. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. For anybody to stay who is a non-African in Gtext, all I can do is do this for you, right? But we're evolving and we're taking a lot more non-Africans into the team. I want to thank everybody, our investors, our clients, our team members, we call our staff team members, everybody. Thank you. Because we have a robust management team. Every subsidiary has some MDs, and these people are working hard every day. You'll be seeing more of them as time goes on. But 2 years ago, I stepped back and Mr. Rana took over as the group managing director. And I would say he's not done a bad job. And I think more years he has to go for his first term. It was a time of 5 years. You will see more. Because what we're having to do now is to move from a bootstrapped company to a company that now has institutional investors, raising capital and all of that. And he's experienced in that. He's been an investment banker for over 25 years. So that's his world. And I've learned to be humble, right? If you're not good at something, take a back seat. Let somebody who can do it do it. And he's that guy. And there's so much work he's doing and more he will still do. But for me, what's my pathway forward as a founder? I'm now much into being an investor, being a business owner, being an investor just like other people who also invest in buying land or buying a house. And that's much of my role. But beyond that is to now expand. I'm starting reality visual, buying, we now have a new venture capital company, have a new private equity firm. And private equity means you're buying businesses, you're turning them around, you're taking them to the capital market. Venture capital is more of you invest in smaller businesses, startups. So that's the pathway. It's part of why I'm in Harvard, learning from my professors. I love my classmates as well. Some of them have exited businesses at $1.3 billion valuation. One exited his business at $2 point-something billion valuation, over $500 million valuation. So one is learning what companies to buy. How do you transform a company? Just buy a company and transform it. A lot of that is what is a new phase for me, and I'm learning that. It's a very interesting model. And what I know is that the opportunity with all this is over time you pick the same knowledge and you can transfer it back to Africa. Many of the profits you're making, you can still invest it back into our construction back in Africa. But my advice to African entrepreneurs is integrity is important, and it's very, very important. And like I've shared many times, integrity is not what you do so that people don't see you in a bad light, right? What you do so that, if people get to know I did this, call me names. No, integrity is doing the right thing even when you know nobody will discover you did it wrong, but still choosing to do the right thing, and that's That's really where integrity is. The second thing I want to encourage entrepreneurs, founders of businesses who are born in Africa just like me is this reputation thing. People want to blackmail you with reputation. But don't ever forget that it's your reputation. And as long as you have something like a clear conscience, you're in tune with your spirit, you're in tune with your maker, your spirituality is strong. So you're constantly asking your maker, is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Once that is sure, it's your reputation. I told somebody the other day, I said, it's my reputation. It's not yours, it's mine. And the last time I checked my reputation, it's intact. It's mine. Right? You can't know my reputation more than me. And that is important. So you don't get people to blackmail you, employees blackmail you, clients blackmail you. You must be centered. And if you're not centered, what people say, you can't run business for 17 years and in 17 years you don't have PR issues, you don't have somebody that don't like you. That's not possible. Even in America, I was sharing with somebody who said, Mark Zuckerberg was running in Nigeria. I said, Mark Zuckerberg feels safer in Nigeria than he feels in America. I can assure you, at the Congress, they were asking to just disclose the hotel he was lodged. You couldn't tell them. Way more safer. It feels more safer. And so, running business over the years comes with its own challenges over the years, and that's just normal. But make sure integrity is important. Make sure you are clear. You have clear conscience, pure conscience. You're sure this is the right thing to do. You're sure you've checked your heart and you've done the right thing. And it's important because money is not everything. I encourage you to chase money legitimately, the most legitimate way possible. But money is not everything. And so you must make sure your conscience is clear, because there will be years to come where you look back at how you've done things. And if you've not done it well, you will be full of regret, because it won't be worth it. It won't be worth it. And so that's a key advice I have for a lot of founders and startups. As we celebrate 17 years, we hope to keep going, getting better. Brighter days ahead, honestly. Brighter days ahead. I'm just full of thanksgiving, of how God has been faithful. Standing strong 17 years later, it's not easy where companies die after 2-3 years. It's not easy. God has been faithful. If I look through it all, God has been faithful. And I want to thank everyone who believed in us, standing by us. And for whatever reason you believe in us, thank you for doing that. I love you. I've done videos, I've done all manner of articles. Thank you. A big thank you to every single one of you. Happy anniversary to us at Gtext Holdings. Greater years ahead, better years ahead, more good news, more progress, more blessings on the way. I want to also encourage some of our investors who are not happy about our development levy. I have checked over and over again what the management decision is. I've spoken with Mr. Rana and the management team. This is still at the end of the day in the interest of you as an investor. If you buy a land and they don't fence it, they will soon collect the land. If you buy a land, they don't provide infrastructure, the value will go up. If you buy a land and they don't space it well, right, one day it will look like a trash. There's no value. Quality comes at a price. It's not a cheap price, but it comes at a price. But I can assure you, if you pay your development levy, you pay for your land, you pay everything, and you have any issue, please send me a DM. Send our company a DM. I will see you. There are too many management level people ready to attend to you. And if you do all of that, still not work, take the company to court. I've always said this. The fact that I'm the largest shareholder of Gtext does not mean you don't have the right to pursue your right. You have the right. You think that the company I invested in, part owner, he has not done you right. Please, fight your right. I'm too exposed to take issues of people fighting their rights personal, as long as they do it legitimately. Right? I'm in a part of the world where In America, you can see two couples fighting, their lawyers seated, they are seated. They will even meet for coffee and dinner and still discuss how they will fight the court cases. So, if you think you are convinced something has not been done right, please, you have the right. But as far as I know, there's nobody has reached out to me with a legitimate concern that I've never replied. As long as a legitimate concern, business is tough in Africa. Tough. And so many times I've had to explain areas that there's delay in one area or the other. I apologize. I'm reaching out to the team, give me your information. And I think many challenges have been resolved that the customers had. That's why I make sure my number is still available online. People are able to reach out to me directly. So, but we can assure you we'll continue to be transparent. Integrity is at the core of everything we do as a brand. Thank you once again. Love you. Happy 17th